Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Environmental Coffee House. And I am Sandy Shellis, and I have lots of stuff to go over tonight. But I'm going to start with something. Do you guys know that it is 89 degrees in the Arctic Circle in northern Alaska, the northern shelf? I mean, literally, it is 89 degrees. So I thought, okay, that would be a good way to start out and give you the good news. Amongst some good news today and some not good news today, how is everybody out there? Um, Hi, Matt. Oh, Matt's here. Yay, look at that. Hi, Matt. New Zealand's here. Poppy, Veg, TR, Kim, Teddy Cool. Good. Everybody's coming in. And Jean, you're back. Great, 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 great. All right. Let me get this started. So, we're going to talk about tornadoes because there was a tornado in Buffalo, New York, in the fucking city. Sorry, I'm already starting out, but shit. All right. Let's go. Let's start out here. First, I wanted to tell you guys about this temperature, because it's insane. It is. It's insane in the membrane. So it's 89 degrees. I don't know if it updated. Let's see if it updated in Alaska. It's 89 degrees. All right. So before we start even talking about this, 89 degrees. It is the hottest it's ever been. Jim's not with me, but he will be with us for State of the Planet in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. But it's insane. I don't know if it went into 90 degrees, but this is really messed up, guys. And I'm not laughing. I'm just, wow. All right. So, yes, everybody's excited about maybe some change coming to the United States. Yeah, me too. Me too. All right, let's get started. I wanted to talk about, well, I wanted to actually talk about New York, and I wanted to talk, I don't know if I have everything in order, but all right, tornadoes. Let's start with looking at Iowa this year first before we go to New York, because it's pretty fucked up what happens. You got forgive my language tonight. I'm worked up. I want to show you the examples of things that are happening, and I don't know if the sound is on, so hang on. Is the system audio on? Yep, it's on. Okay. So this was Iowa this year. It's been a crazy year. So you look at this. This is Iowa. The destruction here is nothing like this. But look at that. Yes, 90 in Alaska, and no, it's not normal. All right, so let's move up. Just look at all the destruction. This is what tornadoes do. This is what they do. This is Iowa. Look. Drive-through video shows destruction of Greenfield, Iowa, May 21st. Yeah, it's been a hell of a season. So I thought I would start by showing you how depressing this is. Tornadoes are and they're more intense. But we'll go into how they actually start. All right, so what causes a tornado? And then I want to talk about Buffalo, because Buffalo is so unusual for Buffalo, New York to have tornadoes, obviously, right? So this is the NOAA, and they've got a pretty good website here, what causes tornadoes. And I think I don't know if I had this up. Yeah, here we go. All right, we'll start with tornadoes. So what causes a tornado? Tornadoes, the swirling funnel-shaped winds of the tornado are easily recognizable, and they could be very dangerous. Obviously, we just saw Iowa. We just saw what happened in Iowa, and it's very scary. And one of the things we're going to talk about is, when you've been through a tornado, you have a problem dealing with shit for the rest of your life, because it's a scary thing. even if you didn't experience it and you come back and you see the devastation from these things. All right, let me get this. No, it's too, I can't move the screen right. They bring damage, hail, strong winds, lightning, flash floods, and all of this is going on, right? We know. New York has had more tornado warnings this year than in forever, and I've got articles for you. And that they start as supercells. So any of you that follow storm chasers, maybe there's a lot of them, like Reed Timmer. You've probably learned a lot about tornadoes already. So I'm going to play this thing, I think, before we start. Forgive me, I'm not exactly the most prepared, but hang on, I'm going to play you a video.
What causes a tornado? The swirling,
This way they can
funnel-shaped
tell you.
winds of a tornado are easily recognizable, and they can be very dangerous. But what causes these unique and violent weather phenomena? Tornadoes usually begin with a thunderstorm, but not just any thunderstorm, a specific kind of rotating thunderstorm called a supercell. They can bring damaging hail, strong winds, lightning, and flash floods. Supercells form when air becomes very unstable and wind speed and direction are different at different altitudes. This condition is called wind shear. Wind shear is common in the formation of most thunderstorms. When wind at ground level is blowing in one direction and wind higher up in the atmosphere blows in a different direction, it can cause a horizontal tube of air to form. In a thunderstorm, warm air rises up within the storm. This is called an updraft. An updraft can turn a horizontal rotating tube of air into a vertical one. When this happens, the whole storm
Pretty
begins
cool, isn't it?
rotating, creating
And this
a
is going
supercell.
on way more.
Some supercells form a funnel cloud. And if that funnel cloud extends to the ground, it's called a tornado. Tornadoes can produce winds up to 300 miles per hour at the surface, making them dangerous to people and property. As a tornado moves along the ground, its strong winds begin to pick up debris too. In fact, flying debris is usually what causes the most damage in a storm. Thankfully, meteorologists are keeping an eye on your local weather. They will try to give you a heads up if a tornado is likely to form in your area. They combined.
I must stop right now. The NOAA, I'm going to have to inject, I'm sorry, a little politics into this. The NOAA is in trouble if the election goes the wrong way, because all these federal agencies, the EPA, the NOAA, the administrative state, so-called administrative state, are gone. Goodbye.
Wind and temperature readings from the ground with information from satellites to determine if your local weather has the right conditions for a tornado. For example, NOAA's Goes East satellite captured this video of an isolated supercell storm in Texas. The different colors represent different cloud top temperatures in the storm. Colder temperatures represent higher cloud tops, which often means stronger storms. So, if you see a tornado watch or warning in your area, look for updates and get to safety as soon as possible. And know that NOAA's GOES-R series satellites will still be keeping a close eye on things from orbit. Find out more about extreme weather at NOAA SciJinx.
And guess what? It's not Skylink. It's not Skylink. All right, that's good. So now, we now have it in our mind how these are the convection and the way that they form. I can see over the ridge when we have storms. I get scared because, well, I have that fear now. I do. And it's an awful fear. All right, we'll go into the articles I have for you. All right. So we went through what's causing. We also went through Iowa, which is pretty awful. All right, we're going to move to Buffalo because it was a surprise. Yesterday, my daughter gets on our family chat and says, there's a tornado in Buffalo, or there was just a tornado in Buffalo. I'm like, in the city. No shit. Really? No shit. Yeah. God. Okay, we don't want that one. So, surprise, right? Oh, yeah, it was a surprise. It was a big surprise. New York sets records now this year, New York State, for tornadoes in a single year. And this was just updated. New York set a new record, brand new record, for confirmed tornadoes in a single year on Monday when it touched down in Buffalo. And the State Weather Risk Communication Center posted the news on X, which is a cesspit, but I'm still there. Uh, and I might pull up the post I put down and all of the assholes that followed me. So we set a new record in Buffalo. Nobody's expecting in the city of Buffalo on Niagara Street. And I do think it came from, there was some footage from uh, across the way in Canada, Fort Erie. People were catching the tornado there, and then it was a water spout. So the new record is 26. The previous high point was 25 in 1992. It's like insane. Monday's tornado hit at 12:49. Yep. The National Weather Service announced a preliminary storm report. It touched down near Niagara Street and Caroline Street. I know exactly where it is. Just a few blocks from the city's waterfront, the Weather Service said. The strong storm damaged buildings, left hundreds without power. Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz announced on X streets were closed around Niagara and Caroline Streets. The Buffalo Police Department reported the storm in Buffalo comes just weeks after multiple tornadoes across the outbreaks, and one was in Eden, which is about maybe 22 miles from where this one hit, and about 60 miles northwest of where I live. A tornado in Rome, New York, also July 16th, shredded trees, tore roofs off buildings, and left people in the city with tales of narrow escapes. Kathy Hochul said it was miraculous no one died. It's just storm damage. Wait till the insurance companies start pulling out of New York State because of tornadoes. Are we we're like the new tornado alley. Dozens of buildings damaged. And then there was one on that same day in Canastota, killed an 82-year-old man. He was struck with debris while he was trying to cover a classic car he owned. That's sad. But the deaths are not high. And I didn't look that up or actually as a thing for this show, as a topic. Why do you guys think people aren't dying in these tornadoes? They're hearing about them. They didn't know the one happened in Buffalo. They're just not standing in the street when the tree falls. I mean, it's pretty wild. That would be an interesting topic. Why aren't people dying? Is it luck? Is it better buildings? No, the roofs are being blown off. The shit's all over the place. Pretty scary. So the 4 tornadoes, 2 in Erie County, 1 in Chautauqua, 1 in Genesee, touched down in western New York. And that was the EF2 was the town of Eden, which I just talked about. So this is Scott Rochette. He's a meteorology professor at SUNY Brockport. And he talked, this is in July. not that far ago, but before what happened in Buffalo. And he was talking about why they're so rare in Western New York, how the Weather Service identifies tornadoes, and what could climate change, could they be making this happen? So there were questions, and I'm going to go down and talk about this guy. He says, actually, we got back from a storm chasing trip about 4 or 6 weeks ago. We saw several storms, but only one was tornadic. We didn't even know at the time because the tornado funnel was wrapped in rain. Remember what we saw in the graphic, what it looks like. It was wrapped in rain. We got some really good pictures of the storm. We just didn't realize there was a tornado in it. And so to have all this stuff going down yesterday, like, oh man, most people would be, they're not going to be excited. They'll be scared to see a tornado. I'm excited. So he's a chaser, he's a meteorologist. And the interviewer says, yes, right, as long as your house isn't in the line of fire, so to speak, like you will see. I put together something about my trauma from 2017. I found some old videos. Kim, you will remember this. And he says, yeah, it's really rare that you see the level of threat forecast for this area. I wonder what he thinks now that Buffalo, in the city, had one. It's very well predicted, and it was very well handled by the National Weather Service office in Buffalo. That kind of thing does not happen in New York every day, but we're going to see that it happens more often. And you mentioned this, but we don't get tornadoes very frequently in Western New York, and I was really surprised to see them. A lot of people are too. I'm not. Why are they so rare? And Rochette says it's basically because we don't often get the kind of instability that we need to get really vigorous thunderstorms. We do get them, obviously. I mean, we do get unstable air, especially during the summer, but the lakes do influence things because the waters are still relatively cool, especially in the earlier part of the summer. That tends to make the atmosphere around the area a little more stable, but it can also help focus thunderstorm development a little bit away from the lakes as well. But we don't get the kind of instabilities that you see out in the Midwest, say. And so we don't get really vigorous thunderstorms happening to the same extent as you would in the Midwest. And so severe weather is really rare, okay, because it requires all those ingredients to come together in the same place at the same time. It's just not as frequent. So why does it take so long to confirm that these tornadoes? What's involved in that process? Well, Rochette says, meteorologists from the National Weather Service offices have time to go out into the field and do what's called a storm survey. It means literally putting boots on the ground. Fortunately, we now have drones that take pictures from above, and that really helps things along. But again, it requires interviewing people. It requires going out and looking at damage patterns. And there are certain things that the surveyors will see in the damage patterns that are caused by straight line wind damage, which can be as strong as a weak tornado in a lot of cases. But of course, immediately when strong damage happens, people think it's a tornado, but that's not really the case, which is what happened to me here in May when I was out on my deck room. It's enclosed now, and I was videoing the storm, and the winds came insane. They were insane, and it was straight line winds and took a tree down right in front of my face outside. And I was probably, stupid for being out there videoing instead of thinking maybe I should get to my safe place, which I now have a safe place. So people think it's a tornado. And that's why the surveyors have to go out into the field and actually look and see what damage occurred and what kind of patterns it showed in order to determine whether or not it did occur. And I want to show you something. I want to find it. Nope. Sorry, guys. I had everything set up and I wanted to find how we get, well, I don't have it. Let me finish reading it and we'll look for, it was how EF1s and EF2s and all are determined. So A number of the warnings that got issued were all what are called radar detected tornadoes because that's a circulation pattern that was evident in the radar field that said the storm is rotating. So there are essentially two types of tornado warnings: radar detective and the one where a funnel was actually spotted. That's scary. So these surveys can take a long time because of a lot of these places, they're out in fields or in forests, and it's not easy to get to them. So it requires a little bit of literal legwork to get to those places. And there's only so many meteorologists in the office working that can go out and do a storm survey. So when there's 18 individual sites to survey, it's going to take a little bit to get them all. Ashley, okay, well, it's interesting. So we won't really understand the full impact of this storm for a couple of more days, which is talking about, I think, Eden, New York. Easily. And I've never done a storm survey, but I can't imagine that it's just a 15-minute process. Hey, okay, that looks good. Nope, it's getting down and talking to people and looking at stuff and getting drone photographs and coming to the conclusion that, yep, those were straight line winds, or nope, that was a tornado. Right, I guess. Could you tell me a little bit about how unprecedented this is? I can't think of a time when, we had this many tornadoes in the area. Is there a historic analog to this or not really? Well, Rochette says, the one event that I came back to was a tornado outbreak in May of 1985. It was really significant outbreak of severe weather and tornadoes for New York and Pennsylvania and eastern Ohio. So no, these kinds of things really don't happen very often. And that is a good thing. It really is. I mean, I've had people who ask me, how can you live in Western New York? And I say, well, because the weather 8 months of the year is pretty good and I don't have to worry about it. I can shovel snow. I don't want to shovel debris. But yeah, these things, they do happen. But I want to say that the Buffalo Weather Service usually issues a couple of tornado warnings a year for their forecast area. And my forecast area seems to be, well, last year there were more than this year. So it's obviously not a very common thing. But these kinds of outbreaks definitely are. So, all right, Ashley says, the last question before I let you go. This is a product of a pretty powerful hurricane. Should we be expecting more events like this in the future given climate change, or is this a one-off freak event? All right, Rochette. Oh, that's hard to say because that's a big difference between weather and climate. Climate is what you expect, and weather is what you get. That's the best explanation I can think of. But the climate is getting warmer. Storms are getting more intense. They're getting wetter. There's more moisture being incorporated into them. And so it's a very distinct possibility that more frequent and more significant severe weather is possible. But again, it does require a whole host of things to come together at once. And that in itself is pretty rare. I mean, just to put it in perspective, you could sit in a field anywhere in Oklahoma and wait for a tornado. Any random place in Oklahoma, which is a place that gets tornadoes very frequently. And you could live your entire lifetime without ever seeing one because they're that random. That said, with an atmosphere that is getting increasingly warm, there's a decent chance that we will start to see more significant severe weather happen in places that may not have seen it nearly as much, like Buffalo, which really is frightening because if it's happening more frequently here in Western New York, then it's probably going to happen more frequently in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas as well, and that's probably the last thing they need. I thought that was pretty good. And I really wanted to find, well, I don't have it. Unless it was in one of these. Hang on a second. Maybe it was down here. Oh, here it is. Okay. This is what they call the Fujita scale. Correct me if I'm wrong, if it's Fujita scale. But these are the numbers. So these are the gusts. And this, I think it was an EF1 that went through my place, 86 to 110, and the highest being over 200 miles an hour. That's frightening, terrifying, very scary. I think tornadoes, because of the unpredictability of them, makes them worse, almost worse than hurricanes. A hurricane, you're watching for days. You have tons of time to prep for a hurricane most of the time because of sophisticated weather measurements. Tornado warnings, maybe not so much. And the tornado warnings sometimes come at the last minute on your phone. I have it all set up for that. So that is, let's look at the Iowa tornadic cells. Okay, let's look at those. That's something else, isn't it? Look at those. Damn. Yep, that's what they look like. Hang on, I gotta get this down. Okay, that's what they look like. Pretty wild. And these are the satellites. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. I think I need another screen. Honestly, literally don't have. I have two big screens, my friends, and they're just. It doesn't seem like there's enough real estate for all the shit I want to put up all the time. So he pretty much talked about that, and we saw that in the video. We already looked at that. We looked at some of the damage in Iowa, this kind of damage. See, in a hurricane, the damage can be quite catastrophic, but people aren't expecting this. And in the old days, do you remember? You see movies, you see the tornado shelters, people are running down. They're running down into their tornado shelters pretty much at the very last minute. Well, who has a tornado shelter in Western New York? I don't. I have a basement. So I have an area now literally set up for this. It's set up. It's the safest part of the house. And because I know you're going to think it's kind of crazy, right? But literally, you have to think about this shit. You do. A history of twisters. Tornadoes in New York since 1950. So this is what I thought we'd look at in New York. I mean, I could go to your states and do it, but I thought, well, we just had that tornado in Buffalo, and that's, So here, we're going to look through, I'm going to go way down first. They started measuring them, 1952 on up. Now, in 1954, there were two. And look at the storm damage was $2,525,000. That's a boatload of money in property damage. So all of them since the beginning is $483,348,340 of damage in New York, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but ask the people that live in the places that had the damage, like me. And I saw Poppy. Wait. Let's get you had a comment about basements are good. Yeah, it's a good it's a good place. Basements are good. Too rocky here to have them. Yeah, I know. I'm happy I have my basement. But part of it is not underground. Anyway, so let's go back and look at this. We're going to go up. There were 1986. There were 10 tornadoes. Wow, 10 tornadoes. Let's see the thing. It's number of tornadoes, direct injury, indirect injury. So in 1986, there were 13 injuries. 10 tornadoes, 13 injuries. And one direct fatality, indirect fatality. And so 86 was a pretty hairy year in New York, huh? $4 million in 1986. Let's look at 2017. That's my year. That's the year it hit my house. Well, my property was pretty messed up. See, that was the whole area. I'm not doxing myself. I can't dox myself. But it was July 20th. And I'm included, I would say, in this 250,000. Maybe. It was an EF1. Or I'm not sure. But again, like I said, I'm not doxing myself. So, But that's New York's history. Yeah, that's New York's history. And I wanted to go also and show you guys the world. But I think I might wait and take a break and show you what happened at my place because I need to stand up. I may seem a little bit off, but I'm in a bit of I hurt. I mean, what can I say? I hurt. And it's been raining and the rain hurts and it's just shitty out. All right, hang on. We'll get this one shown and I can stand up and stretch with you guys. And you can see the shit. Kim, remember this. This is you're gonna see this. She'll remember. She remembers. I'm taking a video because none of this is covered by the insurance. No tree damage is covered. All of this is damage. I'm going to show you. All of this damage, we're on our own. And all of this was stuff that was put up to keep the creek from overflowing onto our property. So all of that. I mean, they said they might take care of the greenhouse, but all of these trees and all of this damage, none of it is covered.
Oh, the rebuilt greenhouse is much better, though.
They will not pay. This is the only thing they will pay for because it's on the house. That's it. That's the only thing they'll pay for, to get this off the truck.
That's the sawmill right down the road from me. All my old growth trees, it was horrible to come back to see this. Yeah, I was scared. Well, I didn't know how we were going to clean it up either. And we got an amazing crew of volunteers.
See all the way in there? That huge big thing? All of this. Everything is destroyed, but we're on our own, basically.
Well, I thought I was on my own. We're not under a tornado watch tonight.
Oh, we lost a lot of trees. They were so beautiful. Welcome home to that. Well, now it's raining. I'm on the deck. This is what Tim did clean off on the deck. So at least there was some help, you know. That's the deck. And there is the greenhouse. And this is what the whole mess looks like from up here. I don't know why Mother Earth, Gaia, chose me and Doug. We really don't. But it could have been a whole lot worse. Awesome, amazing people coming to help us. I have people here that are joining me from my local group. Whole lot of people here. It's unbelievable, the volunteerism. Some heck of a work party. It's unbelievable. This was a tree. This was a tree. It was a huge tree. The amount of work. There's our firewood for the winter. And this is the stuff that Matt, the artist, is taking that's going to become pieces of art. So there you have that story of your hostess's life. Yeah, it was pretty scary. No, it was Doug's truck, Wanda. But anyway, it was pretty bad, especially a week after a motorcycle accident because he was in the hospital, you know. And it was frustrating because to come home to see all of that was really scary. You know, it was upsetting. So again, insurance companies will only cover damage to your home or your vehicle, but they don't care about the cleanup. It was an immense amount of volunteers that came to help us. We had an immense amount of, we had people bring machinery, chainsaws. It was incredible. And Doug couldn't do a thing. My husband at the time, my ex-husband, he couldn't do anything because he was all messed up from a motorcycle accident. So it was quite, but it was, you know, traumatic, I would say. I got over it, but I'm not over it now. We get a tornado warning, and I hightail it to my safe spot in the basement. I bring the things that I need. Okay, so to this, and let's look at other places in the world, and then we'll chit chat a little bit. Other places in the world. United States is the worst place for tornadoes. Totally the worst place for tornadoes. And up here, Alaska. Look at that. 89 degrees there today. Average tornadoes per year. Look at that. We have the highest. It is insanity. Not many in other parts of the world, but we can look at other countries. Any countries you guys want to look at? I'd say let's look at India. India, kind of. I wanted to look at India's not population. I wanted to look at their tornadoes. Well, they have tornadoes. Obviously, we're not going to be able to see the data on their tornadoes, but we have the most. Well, let me see something here. All right, here we go. I think you have to really click on it to see where you have tornado. No, but they're still not like the United States. No way. Nope. Nope. No. No, no, no. So other places do get them, but we just won on the tornado luck scale. Mm-hmm. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So why was 2024's destructive tornado season? It was the worst. And spring of 2024, we've watched it together, was unnerving for people across large parts of the U.S. as tornado warnings and sirens sent them scrambling for safety. 1,100 tornadoes were reported just through May, a preliminary number, but nearly twice the 30-year average at that point, and behind only 2011, when deadly tornado outbreaks tore across the southeastern U.S. Several multi state outbreaks. They damaged homes from Texas to Minnesota and east to West Virginia and Georgia. They caused widespread destruction in several towns. Greenfield, Iowa. I'm sure we all saw this, right? Greenfield, I showed earlier, but we saw on Westmoreland, Kansas, Bartlesville, Oklahoma, hit twice in 2 months. And in May, at least one tornado occurred somewhere in the country almost every day. Every day. So, what causes some years to have so many? Two key tornado ingredients on steroids. The hyperactive season has been due to an abundance of two key ingredients for tornadoes: wind shear and instability. The jet stream, a band of upper level winds that mostly blows west to east, flowing warm air to its south and cool air to its north, plays an important role in how and where the weather systems evolve and in the wind shear. So during April and May, the jet stream often dips southward into the western U.S. before turning back to northeast across the plains. That's a pattern favorable for producing tornadoes in the central U.S. In the area east of the jet stream's southern dip. So, but see, New York's not even here because it didn't start until later, which is unusual in July in and of itself, right? And that's where 2017, where my tornado was. All right. Making this year even more active, persistent record heat waves were common over Mexico and Texas, while the Rockies and far northern United States stayed cool. The sharp temperature difference created a stronger jet stream than normal, leading to strong changes in wind speed and elevation. As a result, wind shear has been on steroids. Lovely. The change in wind speed with elevation can cause air to have a rolling motion. The rapidly rising air in a thunderstorm can tilt the rolling motion to create a spinning thunderstorm that can concentrate in the spin in the tornado. So the Gulf of Mexico, being that it was much warmer than usual, producing abundant heat and moisture that can be transported northward to fuel thunderstorms. That creates atmospheric instability, which we talked about earlier, the other key ingredient. And we have more atmospheric instability. I don't care what any of the idiots on Twitter says that were giving me a hard time, because I basically said the geologists say we're in the Holocene, but once a tornado hit downtown Buffalo, sorry boys, but we're in the Anthropocene. I called BS, and I got, oh my God, all the deniers came after me on X. I thought it was kind of funny, actually. So, preliminary tornado sightings and events from the National Weather Service local storm reports. It means the annual mean in black is based on preliminary reports from 2010 to 2023 year. Does this get bigger? No, it doesn't get bigger. So, as all the graphs we show, right? Everything goes up. So here's the mean. This is the mean. And 2024 is above the mean. And now, obviously, July, we're going to go up more because we had more tornadoes. It's not going to go down. I doubt it. I doubt it. El Nino's weakening was a warning. So that was the perfect combinations of ingredients. El Nino, La Nina, opposing climate patterns centered in the Pacific Ocean can affect the winds and weather around the world. A 2016 study found that when El Nino is shifting to La Nina, the number of tornadoes in the Central Plains and Upper Midwest is often larger than normal. So that's what happened in spring of 2024. So what happened now in July? What the hell are we getting these storms? So this was this is, I'm not going to show it right now, but that's how, and this will be in the show notes, and then you could see if you want how El Nino and La Nina influence tornado behavior. How is it changing? All right, see, this is where I am. So it is changing up here. The active spring in the Great Plains was a bit unusual. Studies show a long term trend of decreasing tornadoes in this region and increasing tornadoes farther east, near or just east of the Mississippi River. This shift is consistent with what climate models suggest is likely to happen throughout the remainder of the century as global temperatures rise. Aren't we lucky? So, really, like I said earlier, Tornado Alley has moved. And every stinking denier wants to say that this isn't happening. But I'm even watching the weather guys that I like to watch who are two old conservative weathermen, and they can never say global warming or climate change. They can't do it. But when they talk about all these anomalies and all these changes and all the things that they've seen that have changed, they're always very perplexed, or they're going, oh my gosh, but God forbid they say, they don't go out of their lane. All right. They don't go out of their lane. They're meteorologists. They're not going to say anything. I happened to watch them tonight. That's when I heard that from them that Alaska was 89 degrees up there on the North Slope, and nobody said why, but they were doing a lot of, oh my God, and what do people up there think, and all this other shit without even saying, hey, Houston, you think we got a problem? The expected decline in the number of tornadoes in the plains is likely related to increasing heat over that high ground of desert in southwest and Mexico. The heat flows over the Great Plains a few thousand feet above the ground, creating that cap or lid. The cap lets heat and moisture build up until it punches through to form a thunderstorm. Then that hot, moist air is why the central U.S. is home to the most violent tornadoes on Earth. So why would you build there? One theory is that with climate change, the cap will likely be harder to break through, reducing the number of tornadoes in the plains. At the same time, increasing heat and moisture elsewhere will fuel more tornadoes in the east. So long-term trends and climate model predictions also suggest that more tornadoes are occurring during the cooler months, particularly in the southeast. Tornadoes are also occurring on fewer days each year, but on the days when they do form, there is more likely to be an outbreak with severe tornadoes. Wow. Yeah, that's something else, isn't it? Oops. Oh, the letter hack is on. I had a different video, but I guess I'm not going to set it up now. They're on talking about the election. Obviously, they are talking about Cory Bush, the progressive elections going on. Okay, I have a quote for you. Quote of the day. Quote of the day. It's not socialism. It's just being neighborly. Tim Waltz, Minnesota's own Tim Waltz. So when anybody gives you the bullshit on the right or says to you, you're a socialist or whatever, no, you just tell them, it's not socialism. You're just being neighborly, you know? I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. All right, let's do some comments about tornadoes. I think we saw quite a lot, and we have a lot of comments. I haven't even seen them all. Oh my goodness. You got any questions? Because I haven't read the comments. Shit, guys. Let's see. Hey! Well, they're coming for me up in Canada, it seems. Storms? Yeah, well. Who in the hell is this? Kim, are you moderating? Moderate the chat, Kim. Who in the fuck is Joseph Durkin? Moderate the chat, guys. I have moderators for things like that. All right. Um, hey, all right, let's see. Like hurricanes and typhoons seem worse when there is more people building obstructions. Meanwhile, in the Idaho West, we are having an almost an eastern wet summer. All that melting Arctic ice has to go somewhere, which, and I'm glad you join us. Um, I'm going to have you on the show one of these days, which is good for the glowing potatoes that are back in the stores as the Kroger Albertsons merger reduces their water usage. Yes, you talk about radiation. So you are going to be with me if I get my shit together. I'm telling you, there's times, guys, that I am really saying to myself, I'm tired. You know, I'm tired. I want to take a break. We'll see. I will be taking a break in September, but I've got a lot of stuff coming up now. I've got tomatoes and squash, and butternut squash is growing, and I've got to pull out some of the icky brassicas and a lot of weeds from all this rain. My uh, cucumber leaves are problematic. I've had powdery mildew. It has been a really difficult gardening season so far for me. And I need to take some time to set up. I got a canning station. I got to pick vegetables. I've got a lot to do. I do it all here on this homestead. I do it. And there's a lot to do. I choose to do it. It's a full-time job to live here, but I choose to do it, right? So who knows? I might have to take. You need a vacation? Thanks for getting rid of that guy. That was like ridiculous. Looney Tunes! He's back from vacation. Hi, everyone. I'm sitting back in the audience today. I'm on my way. Oh, you're getting home from Chicago. I want you to remember to like, share, and subscribe. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. It's great to see you, sweetheart. Yep. I'm glad you took a vacation. All right, my loves. Hoople's cat, your life is a vacation. You're going hiking. Yeah, we watch you hiking and kayaking in the Algonquin for a week. Oh, for your 60th birthday, and also but you're always going hiking, and you're making videos on how we need to be and survive and live, and your videos are great, Hoople's cat. Well, I watch you, and I'm a member, so I get the good stuff. I get the good stuff. Poppy, where's that? Yeah, no, it is not easy. Holy shit. I mean, this has been one of my worst weed years. And next year, I don't give a shit. I redid all of these beds myself. I am putting down the landscaping cloth again. I didn't have nearly the weeds that I have this year. It is a pain in the ass, and it's not easy to get down and pick them all. And I'm only picking what's going to interfere with the roots of my vegetables. I'm just leaving everything else. But I got a lot of flowers too. And another thing I'm really happy about. I planted in February hollyhocks. The flowers are coming out, they're growing. I planted them inside. And guess what? All of the torrential rain we keep having keeps knocking the blooms off. It is just pissing me off. And I didn't have a stick high enough. I don't know. Did I tell you guys this? I didn't have a stake high enough to put covering on the hollyhocks so that the blooms wouldn't fall off. So I haven't been out there to see what the hell's going on in my garden. Yes, that is true. No, wait. Yeah, I know. Okay, the global sea ice volume reached a new record low, lower than those of 2022 and 2023. Listen, you can go on X. I know if you might hate it, but Elliot Jacobson is always publishing on there. And I know Going South, you publish on Facebook, but we're not going to have a Blue Ocean event, not this year. I don't think so. Nope. And sorry for being a little crazy with the hair. Honest to God, I was outside. Grow some bamboo. And it's easier just to throw it up, put one of these things on, than have to go, oh God, do I have to do my hair? Wash it. Grow some bamboo. Oh, I don't know. All right, let's see. Yeah, exactly. I've got a lot of different kinds of weeds. I'm not even going to call them weeds. Some of them aren't. I've got a fern growing at the bottom of one of my back steps. It's a beautiful green, lush fern. And I'm like, well, I don't freaking walk down those steps anyway. So I'm just going to let it grow. And the side of the house, I have the Joe Pye weed. I just let it all go. And it looks like, it looks nice. And my friend Debbie, she gave me buckwheat seeds and she says, just throw them out there. The wildflower garden's doing well because I don't weed that. That's wild and it's doing well. Hydrangeas are doing well, but the food gardens, I've had problems even up on my deck. I mean, I've got stuff planted all over this place. Acres of stuff somewhere planted, everything to take care of. I haven't had to use the irrigation system much at all. And yeah, you know what? They probably are. My friend Debbie, Master Gardener, tells me about what's good. And we were walking through her garden last week. And I told her I'd come back and do her video of her garden. She doesn't have a designer garden. She has a functional garden, a great garden. We were walking through eating all these things. And she was telling me what was good for this and what's good for that. Yeah. Listen, my friend, this is the first year I have not grown that. I'll have to show you next time some pictures. This year I grew flowers inside. I started with vegetables and flowers. I usually grow, but I didn't this year. I just didn't. And I'm kind of glad I didn't because that's so time consuming. But all right, guys. She just told me it looks good. She showed me the plant. It's pretty. The buckwheat plant. Yeah, she said it's really nice. So, all right. We've been an hour. It's time to say goodnight. I don't want to go over. Let me see if there's anything else here. Ooh, you had a rabid fox here for the last couple of days hanging around the back deck. Oh, man. You didn't call to have it picked up or anything? Of course they'd kill it. But if it's rabbit, it's going to die and it could kill your tough old husband where he tried to shoot him. But he's kind of blind with cataracts. He's getting surgery. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, it must have died by now. I hope it's not. If it's got rabies, does rabies spread from something dead? Where it's decomposing? I don't know. Aw, you're so sweet. Well, I'll see you Friday. We've got Carolyn Baker Friday night. So bring all of your angst. We might do a little politicking. Doomer chicks for Kamala. Because most of the Doomer chicks I know seem to be all in. But anyway, we're gonna be together. Bring your collapse questions, your anxieties. Carolyn Baker is the grand dame of the Doomosphere. She is an author. We've had her on many times, and she'll be here because I think that every now and then having Carolyn on for a little support, along with Karen Perry, I think that helps us. I think I need Carolyn right now. Right, well, peace out, guys. I love all of you. And we're going to start. I love this song, Heart and Soul. See you Friday.